गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव। जय ओम विश्वाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विश्वाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 7, Text 23 and 24. Let's recite the text 23. Tat tejasa hataruchaha. Tat tejasa hataruchaha. Sanna jivaha sa sadavasaha. Sanna jivaha sa sadavasaha. Murdana drittanjali puta. Murdana drittanjali puta. Upatastu radokshajam. Upatastu radokshajam. Tat tejasa hataruchaha. Sanna jivaha sa sadavasaha. Murdana dhritanjali putam. Upatastu radokshajam. Tat tejasa hataruchaha. Sanna jivaha sa sadavasaha. Murdana dhritanjali puta. Upatastu radokshajam. Tat tejasa hataruchaha. Sanna jivaha sa sadavasaha. Murdana dhritanjali puta. Upatastu radokshajam. Tat tejasa hataruchaha. Sanna jivaha sa sadavasaha. Murdana dhritanjali puta. Upatastu radokshajam. Mataji. Tat tejasa hataruchaha. Sanna jivaha sa sadavasaha. Murdana dhritanjali puta. Upatastu radokshajam. Tat tejasa hataruchaha. Sanna jivaha sa sadavasaha. Murdana dhritanjali puta. upatastu radokshajam. Word. Tat tejasa. By the glaring effulgence of his body. Hata ruchaha. Having faded lusters. Sanna jivaha. Having silent tongues. Sa sadavasaha. Having fear of him. Murdhana. With the hand. Drita anjali putaha. With hands touched to the head. Upatastuhu. Prayed. Adokshajam. To Adoksha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation and purport of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. In the presence of the glaring effulgence of the bodily luster of Narayana, everyone else luster faded away and everyone stopped speaking. Fearful with awe and veneration, all present touched their hands to their heads and prepared to offer their prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adokshaja. Let me read text 24 as well. Api arvag vritayo yasya mahitva atmabhu adaya yatha mati grihaneti sma kritanugraha vigraham. Api still arvak vritayaha beyond the mental activities yasya whose mahi glory tu but atmabhu adaya Brahma etc. Yatha mati according to their capacities Grananti Sma offered prayers, Krita Anugraha manifested his grace, Vigraham transcendental form. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Although the mental scope of even demigods like Brahma was unable to comprehend the unlimited glories of the Supreme Lord, they were all able to perceive the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by His grace. Only by such grace could they offer their respectful prayers according to their different capacities. Purport. The Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, is always unlimited, and His glories cannot be completely enumerated by anyone, even by a personality like Lord Brahma. It said that Ananta, a direct incarnation of the Lord, has unlimited mouths, and with each mouth he has been trying to describe the glories of the Lord for an unlimited span of time. Yet the glories of the Lord remain unlimited, and He therefore never finishes. It's not possible for any ordinary living entity to understand or to glorify the unlimited personality of Godhead. But one can offer prayers or service to the Lord according to one's particular capacity. This capacity is increased by the service spirit. Sevan Mukehi Jivadu means that the service of the Lord begins with the tongue. This refers to the chanting. By chanting Hare Krishna, one begins the service of the Lord. Another function of the tongue is to taste and accept the Lord's prasada. We have to begin our service to the unlimited with the tongue and become perfect in chanting and accepting the Lord's prasada. To accept the Lord's prasada means to control the entire set of senses. The tongue is considered to be the most uncontrollable senses because it hankers for so many unwholesome eatables and thereby forcing the living entity into a dungeon of material conditional life. As the living entities transmigrate from one form of life to another, he has to eat so many abominable foodstuffs that finally there is no limit. The tongue should be engaged in the chanting and in eating of the Lord's prasada so that the other senses will be controlled. Chanting is the medicine, prasada is the diet. With this process, one can begin his services, and as the service increases, the Lord reveals more and more to the devotees. But there is no limit to his glories, and there is no limit to engage oneself in the service of the Lord. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Let's chant Mangalacharam. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Jana Salakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijane Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Cha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Let me take the blessings of all the Vaishnavis assembled here. So all my Siksha Gurus and mentors and everyone and my Guru Maharaj and Prabhupada, I'll take their blessings so that right words comes on the right time. So first let's try to understand this chapter, what's happening so far and what is coming next. Right? This is because this is one of the critical section or end of the Daksha pastime, right? So this chapter begin when the Lord Shiva, Brahma and demigods, they went to meet the Lord Shiva and they have pacified Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva says to the Brahma, he says that I don't mind the offenses done by the demigods. He called the demigods as a childish and less intelligent. And what Lord Shiva says that I don't take it a serious of their offenses. I just punish them so that they can learn. So that's Lord Shiva's mood. So and Lord Shiva is telling how to fix the problem. She's telling Daksha will get the head of the goat so that we can continue further of the yajna. So thereafter the Bhrigu Muni, he was the chief of the sages. So he put the goat head to the Daksha. So Daksha now got the goat head. So once he got the goat head, he wakes up. That means he got the consciousness. And then Daksha has understood what the blunder he has done. And then he prays to Lord Shiva for the forgiveness. So beautifully one thing we can learn from the Daksha that time is when he realized it, he prays that whatever you have punishment is the mercy. So if you have not punished me, I would have not got your mercy. So mercy is not only we can get through even the apparent so-called punishment also, we can get the mercy of it. So that's how he got it. So now all things have been settled. So they started again the yajna. So when they put in the yajna, the oblations in the fire, so the yajnapati Vishnu, Narayan form is coming the one. We saw that how the Narayan was beautiful with 8 hands, with his having dresses in the golden color of dresses, and then having a dazzling crown and with earrings, and he's having in 8 hands all Shankha Chakra, Gada Padma, and then he had a arrow, bow and arrow, shield and sword he is holding it, right? And he was coming in a Garuda. Everyone has been, it's like they are astonished when seeing the beauty of the Lord. And then once they saw it, they all fell off, offered their obeisances. That's what yesterday His Grace Gokulesh Prabhu has beautifully explained what is the significance of doing the obeisances and how we do it. So now these two are the one. So now they have done the obeisances, they got up. So and then so the beauty of this 2 sloka or maybe 24th sloka is that so he's Maitreya Muni is setting up the situation or a stand, because there is a next few sets of things of prayers from the demigods. He's trying to set the mood or what they were having or what they were perceiving internally. And Prabhupada has beautifully said in the purport. Let's understand it, look into later. So, first in the text 23, so when the Tejasa, that means the effulgence, whatever the Narayan in front of the Supreme Personality of Godhead effulgence, all the demigod effulgence have faded away. It's like when the sun has come, whatever we have, all the torchlight has no meaning. Kind of, it has faded away. So it has such a effulgence for the bodily lusters of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what happened here? Everyone stopped speaking. That means they are astonished. So very important point here is what they have is they are fearful. So that means awe and reverence. So that means there's been a bit step behind that one. They are been with the fearful mood. They have the awe and veneration. That's a very important thing to do it. So that means if you want to be humble, so we should have first thing what we'll have is we'll have awe and reverence. So that's what we have, the humility, humbleness. Without a humbleness and humility, we cannot offer a heartfelt full prayers. So that's a very important thing we need to understand here. So then what they did, so they put their hands touched down to the head. So that means they are just telling we are surrendered fully unto you, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then they started to praying. Okay, the praise come from the text 25 onwards. So the text 24 is very interesting one. I'll read the translation again. Although the mental scope of even demigods like Brahma was unable to comprehend the unlimited glories of the Supreme Lord, they were all able to perceive the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by His grace. Only by such grace could they offer their respectful prayers according to their different capacities. If you look at, it has a 3 lines, each line has a one aspect of it. So everyone has a different capacity to offer their prayers. Srimad Bhagavatam, if you look at, there are heaps of prayers from, let's say, Queen Kunti prayers, Vritasura, and we have all the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj prayers. Everywhere if you look at, even we have prayers. Every prayer is a unique and different. With their mood they will do it. Because their capacity is different. They perceive the Lord in a different way. And then they show their offerings also in a different. So that's a very important point of it. So according to the different capacities, based on their capacities they can do it. Then another aspect of it, it's like unlimited glories of the Supreme Lord. No one cannot have tell about the glories of the Lord. So Prabhupada has written where Ananta, direct incarnation of Lord, it has unlimited mouths. He was trying to glorify, but he still couldn't be able to glorify fully the Lord, because the Lord glories of keep on expanding it, right? So another one aspect of it's like it's all mental scope of even demigods. So that means they could able to see the Lord's form only by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without the Lord mercy, we cannot see the Lord, or we cannot perceive the Lord. So whatever we have, we are chanting, it's all because of the mercy of the Lord and His devotees. So let's try to understand. There are, in the purpose, Prabhupada has emphasized a lot on the tongue and then the mercy aspect of it. These two are the key aspect which Prabhupada is emphasizing on it. And then we'll look at that the whole this thing is setting up the prayers. So what is the importance of prayers and why they do the prayer, the awe and reverence? Let's have a look at that one. So in the purport, Prabhupada is telling the tongue is considered the most uncontrollable senses, because it hankers for so many eatables and then forcing living entities into the dungeon of material condition life. So he's telling the tongue is we are in the material condition, because one of the major reason is Prabhupada is quoting is a tongue. So because we use the tongue to eat non-prashadam and we talk so many other stuff of the one, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu clearly instructed to Raghunath Das Goswami. In Raghunath Goswami he says that who simply chases after the satisfaction of his tongue, belly and genitals, he cannot attain Krishna. So he very clearly say that. We know that Raghunath Das Goswami, he was very austere on what he eats, and then even though he eats a very little, he will get what he eats. That's a very thing. And very important thing is we all recite the Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Mahaprasad Govinda, right? So in his tell that one, tongue is the most ferocious and uncontrollable. So tongue is always we have to be very careful in controlling the tongue. So if you look at 11th canto in Uddhav Gita, when we talk about the tongue, right? So Avaduta Brahmana, he based on looking at all the external one, he identified these are all my gurus. From them I learnt it. So for every senses, he will tell one. For example, fish, moth, like that. He will say, I learned from them. If you don't control your senses, we will fall down. How do we fall down? So in that very beautifully, he will tell that. So there are a couple of two verses very beautiful in that for related tongue. He will say that one because based on the fish, I understand the tongue. We have to control the tongue. When after telling that, one can conquer all the senses, but controlling tongue is a very toughest one. So he says that if somebody has controlled their tongue, that means they have controlled their senses. So that's the one important point we need to really understand it. And second, in that verses, there will be one more verses will be there. In that that Avaduta Brahmana, he will be saying that if you have, how do you say, other senses, if you have deprived other senses engagement, for example, I don't want to see something, so if I stop watching, for example, if I don't want to watch social media, I just cut the social media, uninstall all the apps, I just deprive of that engagement of my eyes with that one. So after a few days I'll be okay. But whereas in the tongue, if I deprive more and more, so that means let's say I don't want to eat, I just want to fast, then when I think that one want to eat, I'll eat lot. I'll eat more. I can't control. The tongue is the one which we cannot deprive, we cannot control by depriving. So it has to be, we have to know how do we use our tongue. We need to eat, we have to talk. What we eat, what we talk is a very important aspect of it. So that's the importance of understanding the tongue. Right? There is another one more beautiful line from the Prabhupada in the purport. It's not possible for any ordinary living entity to understand or glorify the unlimited personality of Godhead. But one can offer a service to the Lord according to one particular capacity. That's the first point. And second, he immediately says, didn't stop that capacity. Oh, I have very limited capacity, I can do only this one. But he's telling that the capacity is increased by the service spirit. So that means if you do more services, we get the more, let's say the mercy will come. So that means more capacity will come to glorify or pray to the Lord. So that is a very important one we have to understand. So the next set, there is a quite lot of verses. We'll talk about the glorification of the Lord. Every demigods will come and pray prayers, right? So here if you look at that one, Maitreya Muni, he's trying to set up the mood what they have and then how their capacity of the one they can prayers, because all the prayers may not be same. Right? We need to understand what the prayers and how do we do it, right? Maybe in this fourth canto, down the line we'll be reading the prachetas, where the Lord Shiva will be giving the prayers to the prachetas, and then he tell one very important point. So he said that Lord Shiva will say in that one, although rendering a devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worshipping Him are very difficult. It's not easy that. But he says that one simply vibrates or read the prayers which Lord Shiva has come, then we are able to invoke the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that means if you want to invoke the mercy, we want to increase our capacity, we need to pray. So we need to recite that verses. So in that commentary, Prabhupada states one beautiful point. Any devotee of the Lord Krishna can attain all perfection simply by offering prayers to him. So if we want to mercy, we have to pray it, right? So we'll look at few prayers and then how do we pray and what is the importance of prayers. So if you look at that one, well, let's say Prahlad Maharaj prays when the Lord Narsimhadev has come and everybody is not, demigods are not to pacify. They all tell Prahlad Maharaj, you have to go and pacify Lord Narsimhadev. He has come because of you. You have to go. So when that heard it, Prahlad Maharaj, he says that one, why me? Suppose, imagine somebody has come and tell you go and do something. Radha Kapnath, oh, he's happy. Okay, I'll go and do it. But whereas Prahlad Maharaj mood is like, why me? How is it possible for me? I have been born in the family of Asuras. I don't have a suitable birth like what the demigods, what they have it. So he says that one very important few points. It's like he said one who possesses wealth or born in aristocratic family or beauty, austerity, education, they all diligence, intelligence, any even mystic powers, they cannot. These are all not the qualifications to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says that one, only by devotional service we can satisfy the Supreme Lord. When Prahlad Maharaj gives the examples of Gajendra, so even his prayer, he said that one, in the past Gajendra could able to satisfy by his prayers of one. Right? So let's look at what the prayers, what in the upcoming days we'll hear a lot about prayers, right? So we'll set up the mood of the prayers. So Radhanath Swami Maharaj has beautifully explained general common elements we find in the prayers, right? So if you look at that, there are 4 elements are there. One is that first element is their heartfelt offerings. So they have, it's not like we just come and simply read it or go. One is their heartfelt offerings to the Lord. That's what the first thing we can really understand it. And then they glorify the Lord for their mercy, the inconceivable mercy which the Lord has been shown. So that's a very important second point. They will, we can see in that prayers of any prayers, if you see whether there will be mercy of the Lord, inconceivable mercy, what the Lord has been showing us. And then the third point will be generally they will be glorifying the beauty of the Lord. The Lord is beauty, is such a beautiful Lord. So the beauty of Lord, even we can see that one. So Sukadeva Goswami, when he is Brahma only, when Krishna is having a curd rice, it comes up from his limbs. He glorifies that one, such a Lord of my Lord. Okay, and then the last point is that they are supreme position of the Lord. So that is the one they will set it up. So Radhanath Swami Maharaj says these are the 4 common elements we generally see in the prayers of one, right? So again he says what is the importance of prayers, right? Prayer is one of the key devotional service. We know that in the 9 angas, Vandanam is one of the devotional services, prayers. So what's a prayer? Prayer carries our intention, right? So prayer is basically our intention, our aspiration, our will to love the Lord. So that's what it's been reflecting in the prayers, right? So it's like a communication with the Supreme Way. So that's what Prabhupada says, that our chanting should be in the mood of prayerful. It's like Prabhupada quotes that one, when there is like a child, he wants to get the attention of the mother. So that's how we have to do it. That's because it shows our intention, our aspiration, our willingness to love the God. Because we cannot love God without our current state, maybe at least for my. So we have to have it. So maybe Radhanath Swami Maharaj continues, people may ask it, what is the need? Why do we need to pray? Lord is already the super soul, he knows everything. Why do we need to pray it again purposely? The whole intention is like reciprocation, right? So that's a prayer is like we are trying our effort to do it. Definitely we cannot, like as Prabhupada said that the capacity will increase only by the mercy of the Lord. So we just try to put our first step. So the Lord will reciprocate at Lord. So that means like we are just telling to the Lord, oh my Lord, I am surrendering it. Please, how may I serve you? How may I love you? That's what the mood they are trying to bring it. So prayer is like, it's like a cultivating connection to the Supreme Lord. It's like we want to connect, we want to establish the connection. That's what we'll see in the next set of it. So there is one Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he'll be beautifully explain it. We all worry, right? So he said that if you prayed as much as we worried, we would be worried a lot less. So if you prayed as much as we worry, we would be worried a lot less. So that means we are spending more time on worry rather than the praying. So that's what it says. And then we know from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said that Machitta Sarva Durgani Mat Prasada Tarishashi. So that means Machittaha, thinking about me, Sarva Durgani, any difficulties, Mat Prasada, with my mercy you can cross over it. 1858 Bhagavad Gita it's been told. And even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kachantane Smritinesmin means Duskaram Sukaram Bhavate. Somehow or other, you remember the Lord Chaitanya's name. So you will, for any difficulties, will be turned to an easier part. Right? So the prayer is not new, it's been going on, right? So one of the prayers is like Kirtan is also one type of prayer. So in ISKCON we have a tendency of doing 12 hours Kirtan, 24 hours Kirtan or long Kirtan, right? It's all started in the 1967. So when in, I believe it's Los Angeles, it's there in the Yamuna Devi Mataji's book. So when that time Prabhupada was unwell, so he was sick. So, and then devotees are very new, they don't know what to do because they know only Prabhupada, they don't know anything. Prabhupada says, you pray to that time the first temple, what we have is the Lord Jagannath Subhadra Baladev deities. Prabhupada says, pray to them. So they got the letter from them, then they have arranged one Kirtan. So that's a 12 hours Kirtan. That's the first time they had a long Kirtan for such a long Kirtan in front of the Lord. So that's how we started it. Yamuna Devi Mataji beautifully has written that when they all, means that time not many people, who were there, they started singing is continuously. After a few hours, they got such a strength. They said that our Prabhupada is going to be with us. So they got such a mood, they got it. So the prayers are the one which is the communication, which is how the Lord reciprocate to us, right? So Kadamakarna Swami Maharaj, he used to write a blog, and then in one of the blogs, he written a beautiful. He was, just to give a background, he was preparing for a seminar about the prayers. And then he went to internet searching, and Saint Anthony, he went to Saint Anthony, they'll submit the prayers to Saint Anthony, and then he went and saw the prayers. It's all like people generally they write, okay, save me, protect me, give me, or this, give me that, and kind of one prayer he felt close to his heart. So one mother, she's written, oh my Lord, my daughter is just 3 years old and she is having a kidney disease. She is undergoing hospital one. So give me all the pains to me. Let her not suffering of one. So when Kadamakarna Swami Maharaj read that, he felt very heartfelt. That's the mood of the Vaishnava. So that's what we all pray, right? See, to be honest, none of us have been prayed that I want to become a Krishna consciousness. That's not our first prayer. It's all been a prayer of someone else would have prayed for us. Oh, that person, let him get the book and read it. Or maybe that person, let him get the prasad and then do it. So that's a prayers of someone else. We have been now at least me, people like me, trying to practice of the one, right? So maybe after coming we pray to the Lord and think the first prayer is definitely to become a Krishna conscious. Is not definitely, at least not for my case, it's not me. So that's the deep of prayer. In one more prayer he felt very thing is where one person he said, when I pray I just realize how far away from the God. So that's he had written. Whereas Kadamakarna Swami Maharaj says that. But in our case, whenever let's say we are in the chanting or in the kirtan, we feel how close we are to the Lord. So we see that Lord is very close to us. He is close to our heart and He is available to us. Right? So that's what the prayer. Whereas what our mood carry the prayer is, whenever we pray, we feel the Lord is with us. So that's one important aspect of it. So coming back the point of humbleness. So if you look at that one, demigods, they all offered their obeisances, right? So if you have humble positions, then only you can have prayers in the full surrender. We cannot have a surrender without the humility. Right? Okay. Now let's try to understand what we should pray for it, right? So what should be our prayers? So I just want to read one of the prayer from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami from the Adi Lila 2.2. I'll read the English recitation. O my merciful Lord Chaitanya, may the nectarian Ganges waters of your transcendental activities flow on the surface of my desert-like tongue. Beautifying these waters are the lotus flowers of singing, dancing and loud chanting of Krishna's holy name, which are the pleasure abodes of unalloyed devotees. These devotees are compared to swans, ducks and bees. The rivers flowing produces a melodious sound that gladdens their ears. Here, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami prays that the tongue is like a desert. So he wants that holy name has to come to the tongue. So that's one of the prayer of one, right? So there is one more other beautiful prayer which Prabhupada quotes that one, sum and substance of devotional service. So he says that this is the devotional service, the prayer of it. He quotes that Vritasura's prayer, right? So he is during the middle of the fight with Lord Indra, he says this prayer. So he says that how do we have to yearn for the opportunity to render devotional service? That's a very important one. So he says that one, he gives the 3 examples. The first example is the baby bird in the nest, so which hasn't developed their wings, looking for their mother to return and feed. So that means he is like the baby bird can't do anything. He is just waiting for the mother to come and feed. That's the mood. So that's how we need to yearn. That's the number 1 example he gives. And second thing is the small cows, they can't go and do anything. They just tie it. It be only released when they give the milk during the milking time. So he'll just waiting whole day. It's just wait to get when he'll be relieved to go and have the milk. So that's the mood we need to have it. How do we have a devotional service? The third point is like the wife or the morose wife when a husband is away, waiting for him to return. So that's the 3 points. These are the one we need to have it, right? So that's what we need to have it. How our devotion service or the prayers also, what the mood we want to carry it is also, right? So in terms of what to be prayed, there is a one more beautiful verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we know that from Akrura, from Vrindavan, he takes Lord Krishna to Dwaraka. So when the Lord Krishna is in Dwaraka, and then he walks in the Dwaraka. So he walks and then he meets a lot of people. There is a one Sudama he meets, Sudama. So he is a garland maker, Sudama. So he gives the garland offer and Krishna asks him, what do you want? You have pleased me, you ask me what do you want. He has 3 things. That's the one thing we always have to remember for it. Achalam Bhaktim. So that means he asks the first thing is Achalam Bhaktim. What is that? Unshakable devotion. So that is the first he is asking. To whom? Tasmin Ekaha Akilatmani. To the Supreme Soul of all existence. So that means to the Supreme Lord he wants the unshakable devotion. That's the number 1 he is asking for the benediction. His second benediction, Tat Bhaktesu, his devotees, Sa Cha Suhurdam. He wants to make a friendship with all his devotees. That is second prayers. So that means first he wants the unshakable devotion to the Supreme Lord. And second his prayer is what he wants is, he wants a friendship with his devotees. That's the second thing. He didn't stop over there. What is the third one? Bhutesu cha dayam param. So that means to all the living entities, he wants to show the compassion to all the living beings. So that means, okay, I got a Krishna consciousness, I have a friendship with devotees, but there are a lot of people who don't have that one. So he wants to give that one also to others. So that's what we need to have it. Even we want to have a unshakable devotion to Lord Krishna, and then we want a friendship with the devotees, we want to have good association, and then we want to show the compassion to others as well. So that's how we can have it. So I'll just last one Prabhupada in Jaladuta prayers. He has one very beautiful, he has shown one. So when Prabhupada written his Jaladuta prayers, it's not something he has written to publish it. It is his own diary. It was not been exposed it. So later the disciples, they have exposed it, what the mood has driven it, right? So Prabhupada written one beautiful line, means the whole thing is beautiful, and one is in this with respect to prayer. Some or other, oh Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now my Lord, it's up to you to make a success or failure as you like. So Prabhupada is showing his complete surrender. So he's showing, I cannot do anything. He's showing, I am dependent on Lord Krishna. So that is what the mood he has done it. So today is Abraham Thakur Tirubhav festival. Let's just couple of minutes discuss about Abraham Thakur. So he was called as Abhirama Gopala and Ramadasa, so as well. He was previously Sridhama in the Krishna Leela. So he was the favorite of Nityananda Prabhu. So he was always in ecstasy, and then the power of him is like whenever he pays obeisance to any stones, that will break into pieces. Only Shalagram Shila, other than any other Shalagram Shila, other than Shalagram Shila, if you pay obeisance to any stones, it will break into pieces. So that is what his power of one. So it has been Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's been said that he is one of the chief branches, where Kaviraj Goswami explains the branches of the trees, and then Ramadasa, he is one of the chief branches of the one. So he made a flute with a stick with 16 knots, that's one. So, and another important aspect of it, how close to his Nityananda Prabhu is like. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Nityananda Prabhu to go and preach in the West Bengal, so the two person went along with the Nityananda Prabhu. One is that this Abraham Thakur, Das Thakur is one of the person. Another one is Gadadhara Das, he is the one. So it's been said in the any atheist or anyone blasphemer, when they see him only, they will just run away. So he's such a powerful one. So his worshipable deity is Gopinath ji. So there is a one story of the one. So in his dream, Gopinath ji has come and say that, so I'm waiting for you to come and worship me. I'm there in the one particular place inside, buried in the ground. So when they do and then get the Srinath Gopinath ji, and then they started praying it. So that place is now called Ramakund. So it is there in the Kanakul Krishna Nagar. So that's a one. So another one, small pastime of it, him is like, so he always have something, a bull whip. We know whip, right? So he always have that, yeah. It's called a Jayamangal. Thank you, Mataji. So whoever he touches that with that Jayamangal, so they all get that filled with Krishna Prema. So once Srinivasa Acharya has come and meet him, he touched him 3 times. So his wife will, Malini Mataji will come and say, no, enough. He'll become unconsciousness. So let's all pray to the Sri Abraham Thakur. So let's also get the whip from the Jayamangal. Abraham Thakur Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Any correction, comments? Hare Krishna. Prabhu, we can have, means, if awe and reverence, we cannot have without some tinge of fear. That means it's like seeing them, somebody is a very superior high position, right? Even in materially also, somebody is a superior person, we go and serve, we'll be having some kind of a small kind of a fear, I don't make any mistakes to serve them and do that one, right? Though we show on and reference, let's say any big person, whoever we consider somebody is a big person who we just want to ask them to serve them. Or even let's say to our Guru Maharaj, if you want to go and serve, we'll be careful so much so that we don't spill a small thing, or we have to be not touch the food, and we have to be have some kind of a fairness will be there, right? Because they have the mood of the humbleness. That's how we can have it. Whereas it may not be there in that much in the Vrindavan, because there the Krishna is having served in a different way. But without that one, it's a very tough to.
Prabhu, it's also Brahma is mentioned as Atmabhu. Is that what's the meaning of that? Is that self-born or something like that? Is that what's the meaning of Atmabhu? It's mentioned Atmabhu Ateya, Brahma, etc. It's mentioned. We have heard of Swayambhu. What is Atmabhu?
Not sure, Prabhu. I have to.
And also, interestingly, Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport about Anantasesha, who's the direct incarnation of the Lord. I thought he had Sahasra Shrishala, 1,000 heads. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that he has got unlimited mouths. So, is that like?
Means it's like thousands of heads, not just exact thousand. Maybe that's what they said, not exactly only thousand. He said thousands of heads. Maybe.
Thousands of heads, lot more, unlimited. And with all of the heads, he says unlimited glories as well.
Yeah, glories is fine.
Yeah.
But he mentioned about the mouths.
Yeah.
Thousands of heads usually says, yeah.
And this is from Chittahari Prabhu. The luster of the radiance of Narayana's body is very attractive to impersonalists. Knowing this, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed such radiance that he mesmerized Prakashananda and his followers. They bowed down to Sri Chaitanya, invited themselves into his circle, received his mercy, and became devotees. But this radiance prevents the devotee from seeing the Lord himself. So the devotee prays that the Lord may remove this radiance. Does this mean that the Lord can manifest his radiance or not according to his will? Is it not dangerous for an immature devotee, as it was the case with Narada Mahamuni in his previous life as the son of a maidservant?
Prabhu, can you come again? I understand that radiance part. What is the question is?
So on one end, Chittahari Prabhu is saying the radiance is actually influencing, attracting others. But on the other end, when you actually take it in the case of an immature devotee, isn't it actually really dangerous, because it's actually preventing to see the Lord? And he's actually touching upon the instance of Narada Mahamuni in his previous.
Yeah. Prabhu, in my limited knowledge, see, even the radiance, Lord knows what we aspire for it. He will expose according to what is our internal desire of it, right? Even the radiance is also getting it. It's not a easy, or it not everyone will not get into it. So Lord will expose on basically what they want it. Even when he's for a devotees or his close devotees, if he wants that being away from them will make them to attract more, he'll not manifest to them. So it's not about immatureness of the devotees. If they are not up to that level, then Lord, even the Narad Muni, right? So he has just shown only once in this maidservant time, and then he just Lord goes away, because it make him to think about the Lord more and then to do it. So Lord knows what's the best for us, how to give him, or how we can, what no, he can make us to attract more, or how we can serve. So that's what my maybe Mataji have in.
few more, you know. We need so many teachers.
Yeah. Anything. Grandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.